Let's talk about the highlights, history, humor, and Hollywood hat tips associated with the recent influx of egg-shaped UFO hysteria. Since News Nation recently released this supposed footage of a military-style retrieval of an egg-shaped object, there's been a bunch of egg-related pictures and even a video that have come out, including images of this egg-shaped object that's claimed to have been found within an Antarctic cavern. And while they leave a lot to be desired, this particular image is intriguing to me because some savvy Redditors noticed that it does have impressions on its surface. And upon further inspection, they noticed that those impressions look strikingly similar to hieroglyphics, which of course reminds me of the hieroglyphic-like characters that were discovered on the I-beam of the Roswell crash. And the Reddit army was even able to match up the characters on the egg to known human language. Then we have these images of an egg-shaped object that's been loaded on a truck. But unfortunately, there's not really enough detail in these images to do anything with them. However, this short video clip of what appears to be an egg being lifted by a helicopter does pique my interest. Not specifically because of the object itself, but because of the equipment that they're using to lift it. It appears to be secured to a pallet or skid of some sort, which will allow it to be placed safely on the ground or on a truck bed with zero risk of it rolling over, which is one of my concerns associated with the News Nation footage. Video analyst ProPixel did a great job recreating the rigging equipment that was used to secure the egg. And from an engineering perspective, this configuration is a stable configuration, with the pick points being above the center of gravity of the egg, which is going to keep it stable during transport. But this isn't the first time that there's been an influx of egg-shaped UFOs in the news. According to this Project Blue Book file from 1964, the Air Force's UFO Investigation Office collected several reports of egg-shaped UFOs that year, including an encounter at the White Sands Test Range when a B-57 pilot noticed a white egg-shaped UFO flying over the proving grounds. Minutes later, he reported that the object landed on the ground. This unverified report ends with the egg being retrieved and transported to a hangar at Holloman Air Force Base where it was stored under heavy guard. On April 29th in Rock Springs, Wyoming, 11 junior high students and a teacher witnessed an egg-shaped object that wobbled as it stayed aloft in the sky for the entire afternoon and into the evening. Next, 50 miles north of Santa Fe, New Mexico, Orlando Galeo told state police that he got within 200 feet of a silent flying metallic egg-shaped object the length of a telephone pole. That same year, just outside of Helena, Montana, Linda and Tom claimed that they saw a car-sized bright white egg-shaped object lift off from the ground and disappear into the distance. And of course, we have the infamous 1964 Socorro, New Mexico UFO sighting by police officer Lonnie Zamora, who witnessed a white egg-shaped UFO take off in front of his eyes, as documented in this awesome 1968 comic book. This, of course, is rumored to be the case that flipped J. Allen Hynek from being a UFO debunker to a truth seeker. But there's a chance that egg-shaped UFO sightings go back much further than 1964. This painting from 1350 depicting the crucifixion of Jesus includes two objects that appear to be flying over the event. One of these objects, of course, bears a striking resemblance to a flying egg. Of particular interest to me, this marking on the side of the object sure does remind me of the marking that was observed on the Socorro, New Mexico craft. And while I'm sure it's just a coincidence, I'd like to point out that the markings on the old egg are almost identical to the chandelier UFO image that Jeremy Corbell recently released. Once again, I'm sure it's just random chance, but it is interesting nonetheless. Another coincidence that I think is funny is that the conversation that took place between Thomas Wilson and Eric Davis about a U.S. government-sponsored UFO reverse engineering program took place in the parking lot of a company called EG&G. You can't make this stuff up. Or can you? Something else I find odd is that there's long been rumors that humanity has actually been gifted UFOs. And if Jake Barber is speaking the truth and several egg-shaped craft have been part of those recoveries, it sounds like he's been involved in the military equivalent of what children all around the world do on Easter morning. Lastly, there's been a lot of references to the alien egg connection that have come out of Hollywood. Most notably is Mork from Ork. But honorable mention goes out to the god played by Kurt Russell and his ship in the movie Guardians of the Galaxy. In closing, if there is a baseline truth associated with the egg-shaped UFO phenomenon, we're all going to want to know what's inside of it. But Is that such a good idea after all? Thanks for watching.